I'm Allison with Music Appreciation Talks. Good to see you again. I'm looking forward to playing some of the music of Claude Debussy, well-known French composer who's associated with the Impressionist movement of the late 1900s and early 20th century. He was influential upon many composers after him, and he was influenced very much, surprisingly, by the music of Richard Wagner, the German composer noted for his operas and chromatic harmony. He was a bohemian Parisian. He loved to spend time at his cafes, and he preferred to live nowhere else but Paris. When he received the Prix de Rome Composition Prize, he couldn't wait to get back to Paris and actually left early. But most of all, he's an innovator. He had little concern for adhering to the conventions of classical and romantic harmony. And even though he was expert pianist and composer and an educator at the Paris Conservatory, Claude Debussy's interest was to introduce us to new sounds. And he wrote in what we could say is a painterly fashion. He created new colors, combinations of harmonies, pedal effects, and a sense of timelessness, intricate rhythms that are meant to feel like a suggestion of a rhythm or a suggestion of a murmur. And he evoked a lot of his inspiration from nature, of course, from water, from wind, from leaves, from perfumes of flowers. And I'm going to play for you several of his known pieces, starting first with his earlier period. And this is an arabesque, which is associated with ballet terminology. In this piece, you can hear his earlier style. It's a little bit more classical in its harmonic leanings, but he uses a lot of pedal and a lot of what I would call pointillist effects. Like the artist Monet, who's known for painting many repeated patterns or brush strokes that blend together to create a whole image, Claude Debussy is best known for this on the piano. And what he uses to blend the sounds together is the pedal. The first Arabesque by Debussy. Debussy's most beloved works is called Clair de Lune. It's from a suite, Bergamasque, and the Clair de Lune is evocative of moonlight. Clair, light of the moon. It's the first piece from the suite Bergamasque, and probably the most popular of all of his piano pieces. Another one of Debussy's great influences was actually music of Asia and of other cultures. He heard the wonderful music of gamelons from Bali at the World's Fair in Paris. And he was so inspired by this that he decided to imitate the sounds of the gamelan orchestra in a piece of his called Pagodas. I'll just play you a sample of it so you can hear not just the imitation of the bell-like sounds of the gamelan orchestra, which is an ensemble of different types of percussion and flutes at times, and drums and bells and gongs, but he was also looking to use different scales. Rather than using just the 12 tones of the Western scale, he was interested in using the 5-note pentatonic scale and the more exotic whole tone scale. Play for you the opening of Pagodas. Pardon. He uses the pedal to sustain the bass notes. Interested in the music of Spain. Being close neighbors, that's no surprise. And Spanish influences, especially rhythmic, appear in a lot of his music. Most famously in the Soirée of Granada, the Soirée dans Granada. It's actually in a habanera rhythm. Debussy, of course, was influenced by ragtime, but he also heard from American performers at the World's Fair. And one of his best-known pieces is from his Preludes, which is from his later period. And this incorporates some ragtime rhythm and imitation of cakewalk dances, which were the inspiration for a lot of ragtime. shows Debussy's sense of humor and his love for comedy and the circus. And those themes appear in many of his later works, including the cello sonata. I'll be back with more Debussy in just a little bit.